Welcome to Disorganized Life. If you're a mom, wife, or coffee lover seeking advice on how to reduce clutter and reclaim time, look no further than your host, Lori Palau, founder of Simply Be Organized and author of Hot Mess, a practical guide to getting organized. For a lot of people, clutter is their dirty little secret, but it doesn't have to be. Each week, we will share practical tips, chat with experts, and provide strategies on how to keep you organized. I hope that by sharing our stories, you feel a little less alone and more empowered to tackle the areas that are holding you back. So let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Disorganized Life podcast. I am your host, Lori Palau, and I am so happy that you guys are here. If you're listening in real time, we are at the end of June and it is a scorcher here up in the Northeast. So if you're watching on YouTube, I have my hair in a messy bun. And if you're listening, it doesn't really matter because I'm just in your earbuds. Well, before we get into today's topic, I just want to talk to you about an exciting new program that we are rolling out. So if you are somebody who is in a life transition, whether you are thinking about starting a side hustle or maybe you want to work part-time, you're looking to maybe do something different in your life and you have a passion for organizing and thinking, you know what, I might want to test the waters and start a professional organizing business. I think this is something that I could do and make money, but I'm just not sure how to do it. You're going to want to check out our new training program that we are launching in September. So for the past several years, I've been mentoring professional organizers one-on-one, and I have a limited amount of time to do it. So I've decided to actually start a cohort. So we are limiting it to no more than 10 people. And it's going to be an 8-week live training program. So it's basically going to be a course that we are being taught by me as the instructor. And we're going to go through several different principles of running a business. So not only can we talk about the organizing nuances of the industry, but we're going to be talking all about best business practices and how to develop workflow strategies, accounting, social media, building an email list, all of the moving parts of running a business, not just the organizing side of things. So what I love about this course is that it's completely one-on-one personal group dynamic. There's no modules that you need to watch. We are recording them, so you certainly can go back and rewatch them. But this is live training where you get to ask questions just like you are in a classroom. At the end of the 8 weeks, you are going to walk away with the tools to feel confident and successful in starting and running your own business, like getting clients immediately and helping to contribute to your family. And the best part about this, and what I love about this industry, is you don't have to sacrifice that quality of life, especially if you are the primary caregiver of your family. I started this business when my kids were small. And one of the things I loved about it is the flexibility to be able to carve out time when it worked for me. And we're going to talk all about that in the course. So if you want to learn more, we're going to drop the link below in the show notes, but you could just go to our website, which is simply beorganized.com. And there's a business mentoring. There should be a little button right there. You can click on that and I'll give you all the details. And then if you still have questions, you can hop on a free discovery call and we could talk about it. So again, I'm very, very excited. This is the first time we're doing an actual class. So you guys will be working with people that are in like similar boat of you. And so again, having that bouncing ideas off of with a community of people is going to be so helpful. So definitely, definitely check that out. Okay, great. Now on to today's episode. One of the things that I want to kind of focus in and going back and doing, because we have a lot of new people, is getting back to basics. And what do I mean by that? So we talk a lot about all of the different ways that you can live an organized life. But at the end of the day, there's some tactical foundational principles that we teach here at Simply Be Organized. It's some of the stuff that we're going to be covering in our course, as a matter of fact. One of which is our organizing ESP, which is our empty sort purge methodology. But the next one, which I'm going to focus in today, is the 5 clutter pitfalls. Now, early on in my career, I started noticing that there were patterns of reasons. I don't want to call them excuses, but reasons why people were struggling with clutter. And so I started kind of noting them and paying attention to them and leaning into them. And I came up with these 5 key areas, which I've deemed the 5 clutter pitfalls. And we teach them today, still today, 15 years later, about where people get bottlenecked. And the interesting thing is, the longer you do this and the kind of the deeper we go into the psychology of clutter, is you can look at all the different reasons why do it, but why people struggle in these different areas. But I want to walk through each of those 5 areas, because if you can first identify where your clutter pitfalls are, it's then easier to address and figure out the strategy that's going to help you get past it. So let's go through them one by one. The first one is the clutter pitfall of procrastination. Now, procrastination, in its simplest of terms, is just that kicking the can down the road. We're going to do it later. We're going to just close the door, the drawer, walk away, and deal with it at another time. And the interesting thing is, the longer I did this, I started looking at why people procrastinate. So, procrastination comes for a variety of different reasons. It can come from overwhelm, it can come from not having enough time, it can come from not knowing what to do, not having the strategy to do it. It could just come, I'd rather be doing something else. I mean, it could be that simple as I just would rather be doing something else. So I think we have to really look at, why are we procrastinating? And for a lot of people, procrastination is, if we can unlock that key, then we can begin to develop those healthy muscles of getting in that routine practice of decluttering and organizing. Okay, the second clutter pitfall is indecision. This is a big one. Now, indecision will often lead to procrastination, and indecision simply means I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know. You're at an impasse. You're kind of like at a crossroads and you're frozen. I don't know what to do. And for a lot of people, that can come because there's this fear of making a mistake. People don't want to make a wrong decision. And when it comes to decluttering and organizing, if you start to doubt yourself, a lot of times people will say, I'm not sure, so I'm just not going to do anything. And so the act of not doing anything will result in clutter, even though you're not technically making a mistake, and I'm air quoting. What happens is, if you do nothing, that in essence will result in clutter, because things will continue to build up if you are failing to take action. Think about driving in an intersection and being undecided, of you're at a fork in the road and you don't know if you should go left or you should go right, and you just stop. What are you going to do? You're going to bottleneck and traffic jam everything. And so that's what happens when it comes to clutter for a lot of people, is they have this indecision and they're like, I don't know what to do. And they just freeze. And so what we want to do is we want to get you to kind of pick a lane and figure out which way you're going to go, and make peace with 9 times out of 10, there isn't a wrong way. Maybe you're taking the longer route. Maybe you have to reroute yourself, but it's not the end. Like, it's not the end all be all. And so that's what we work through when it comes to indecision. The third clutter pitfall is guilt. How to think about that in my order. So guilt, and we all know guilt also can lead to procrastination, but guilt can come from a lot of different ways. It could be family guilt. And if you know, we talked about, I think it was last week when we talked all about inheriting your parents' stuff and the guilt that a lot of times get passed on, of like, this is now your responsibility. Guilt could also mean I spent a lot of money on this and I feel guilty because I'm not using it, wearing it, so I'm holding on to it. Guilt could also mean sentimental stuff, of like, my kid made this for me. Maybe it doesn't have a monetary value, but it's something that, like, I would feel like a bad mom if I got rid of it. And so there's all these different layers of guilt. And it all stems from this like false narrative that we tell ourselves, or maybe even it was something that was told to us, but that something was our responsibility, but it really truly isn't. And so once we can relinquish and let go of that guilt, then we are able to kind of move forward and get over that clutter pitfall. The side sister to guilt is fear, and a lot of those same emotions hold true. So fear of, again, going back and making a mistake, or that fear of I'm going to upset somebody. And so when we can work past the guilt or the fear, that will again free us up to move forward. Overwhelm is the next one. And we touched on that with procrastination. When you are overwhelmed, it means you just have more on your plate than you can handle, right? It could be emotional overwhelm, it could be physical overwhelm, um, financial overwhelm. There's all these different types of overwhelm that just, again, paralyze us from taking positive, progressive steps forward. And when it comes to clutter, it is, or organizing, clutter is overwhelming. We sit there and we're looking at a mountain of stuff, or maybe it's a mountain of stuff to us. And, I joke a lot of times with my professional organizer colleagues where they'll say, I'm working with a client and they're like, they're so overwhelmed, and they'll turn to the professional organizer and go, "Are you overwhelmed?" And they're like, "No, I'm not. I'm energized because we have a plan. We have a strategy. We know how to attack this mountain, this beast." But if you don't have that, if you don't have that strategy, if you don't have that plan, it's so easy to then get overwhelmed. Like, we understand that. And that's why it's important to listen to podcasts and read books and talk to people and get other people in your corner, whether it's a professional organizer or a friend, to help you navigate through that, to kind of work through that overwhelm, because the only way that you're going to get past it is to go through it. And then the fifth clutter pitfall that we talk about oftentimes is time. So we just don't have the time. We have more things to do than time to do it. And I always say that time is our most precious commodity. Doesn't matter how much money you have, we all have the same amount of time in a given day. It's just, how do we use that time? Are we using our time wisely? Are we using our resources wisely? Is our time best spent doing A, or is it best spent doing B? Because oftentimes you can't do both. And so we have to pick and choose how we're going to spend our time. And so for some people, it might make sense for them to outsource one thing so that they could do another. And maybe that means you have somebody pick up your kids so that you can do, make dinner. Or maybe it means that you are going to not go and do something on a Saturday so that you could spend an hour or two in the morning going through a closet of clothes. And again, most things aren't an either or, it's a both and. But our time is so precious. And what happens is, if we don't spend any time giving attention to our disorganization, then what happens is we don't want to be in our space, because it causes us anxiety and stress, and it makes it really uncomfortable to want to be there. And so that's when I see this cycle happen, where people are like, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, I'm procrastinating, I don't have the time to do it, I don't want to spend to do it. I'm just going to leave. And then they come back and they feel stressed, and it just perpetuates over and over again. And so what do? We have to stop the cycle of these clutter pitfalls. And the way that you can do it is just starting, just saying, I need help. Maybe that means waving the white flag. Maybe that says identifying, I am just overwhelmed and I have these different pain points, and I need somebody to redirect me. I need somebody, whether that's like a person working one-on-one with me, or maybe I just need like a clutter coach to talk to. Maybe I just need to talk to somebody and get a plan of action. Because what I find for most of my clients is, once they have the plan, once they have the strategy, at that point, they feel empowered and inspired and motivated to actually take the steps to start chipping away at it. But it's when we don't have those strategies in place and we just don't know, and we're flying by the seat of our pants, that we get frustrated and we avoid things. And so if that's you out there, just know that you are not alone and there are resources out there. I mean, if you're looking again for a in-person professional organizer, there's a ton of people out there. We've got an amazing network of people under our SBO partner program, and we're continuing to train new people to help you. But a lot of times you just need somebody to talk to. And if you are somebody that needs a clutter coach, we would love to help. just visit our website, simplybeorganized.com/clutter coaching. It's right on our website. And we're here to help you navigate through that procrastination, that indecision, that guilt, fear, overwhelm, time, all of those things that play this ongoing cycle of disorganization. Because guess what? Life is too short to have to deal with that. So if that's you, please just know it doesn't have to be that way. And we are here to help. I hope this episode has been helpful and inspirational to you. If you know somebody who you think could benefit from this episode, would you please do them a favor and just share it with them? Again, there is no shame in feeling disorganized or overwhelmed with clutter. And so that's what we're here for, people. So again, any questions, hit us up.